The news is live on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, Ho FM 92.5 in the Vutu region, Nagbon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio 1 92.1 in the Upper West region, Radio 4 96 in Spain, around the world. Join us on classfmonline.com. Coming up in this bulletin, police arrest 6 security guards after Adrasafo shooting. Meanwhile, Christo Asafo mission denies allegations and calls for full investigation.
Man who was driving the car was Honorable Adrasafo, who tried to hit the gates. And I also saw a security guy who I know here.
Also coming up in this bulletin, the National Council of Teacher Parents Association backs ban on extravagant graduation ceremony in basic schools. Also, the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association opposes EPA styrofoam ban, calls for stakeholder consultation and transition period. Meanwhile, and also coming up in this bulletin, only 11 out of Ghana's 100 food warehouses are currently functional, raising concerns about the country's food shortage, capacity, and long-term food security.
Personal ones, I can count them on mine. It's about 10 or 11. Almost every district has a warehouse. Except that the state in which they are is nothing to write home on.
These plus many other stories coming your way shortly.
This is the Class Breakfast News.
I am Elizabeth Aidoo and welcome to Class 91.3 FM. Let's settle for the details of the news. Now, police have arrested 6 private security guards in connection with a shooting incident that left former Dome Kwabenya Member of Parliament Adrasafo injured at Kwabenya, according to the Ghana Police Service. The incident occurred on Saturday, June 21, during a ceremony at the residence of Mr. Tamaklo Safo Joseph, known as the Kofana. And the police says preliminary investigation indicates that Adrasafo arrived at the premises and requested entry but was denied access. Armed security personnel stationed at the residence allegedly discharged firearms during the confrontation, leaving her injured. Her vehicle was also found with multiple gunshot marks. A search conducted by the police led to the retrieval of 5 pump-action guns and communication equipment. The investigations are still ongoing. Meanwhile, the Christo Asafo mission has denied claims that Sarah Adrasafo was shot by her brother or that the shooting oriented from within the church. In a statement, the mission says the former Member of Parliament allegedly drove her vehicle into the entrance gate of the property after a church event, damaging 2 metallic gates and creating a risk to worshippers and guests. It says security personnel intervened to prevent further escalation and has called for full police investigation into the incident. Here are some eyewitness accounts of what transpired yesterday.
I saw a Prado, a black Prado. So I thought it was my boss car because my boss is also having the same car. So I was trying to direct some cars. There were some buses. The passengers were coming out and I saw a gun coming out from the car. And the woman who was driving the car was Honorable Adrasafo, who tried to hit the gates. And I also saw a security guy who I know here. But I saw her going peacefully without her. That's what I.
So we were directing the cars to park for all of a sudden we saw a car speeding towards us. So we were trying to let a person slow down so that we direct the car more. But since I was trying to slow the car down, it's like it ran towards me, so I have to leave the way. So what I saw was like it started hitting the gates almost like three times in the main entrance, and it went back to the other gates, and it started hitting again. So I just saw a gunshot, 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So and it came back again. And
We'll bring you more details on that story subsequently on right here on Class 91.3 FM. Let's head to the central region because investigations are underway into a building collapse at Jejiano in the Cape Coast metropolis that claims the life of two sisters after heavy rains triggered the early morning tragedy on Sunday. The victims, identified as a 12-year-old, died when a single-room building collapsed during the downpour. The Ghana National Fire Service says it received a distress call at 4:54 a.m. with firefighters from Cape Coast Metro and regional headquarters arriving at the scene by 5:06 a.m. Rescue team extricated all the four occupants trapped beneath the rubble and conveyed them by the National Ambulance Service to the polyclinic. The two sisters were later pronounced dead, while the two other occupants, believed to be a couple, are still receiving treatment. Preliminary investigation by the fire service indicates that the heavy rainfall compromised the structural integrity of the building, causing it to collapse. The fire service has since urged residents living in old mud houses or buildings showing signs of structural weakness to have them inspected by qualified professionals and to evacuate any structure deemed unsafe, especially during the rainy season. The National Council of Parent Teachers Association has thrown its support behind the Ghana Education Service ban on extravagant graduation ceremonies in basic schools, saying the practice is shifting focus away from discipline and learning, amid concerns that such events has become increasingly commercialized and burdensome for parents. The Ghana Education Service moved to clamp down on what it described as graduation ceremony at kindergartens and primary levels has sparked nationwide debate. Then stakeholders divided over its impact on school culture and celebration. The National Council of Parent Teachers Association says it fully agrees with the policy, insisting that schools must remain center for learning, character formation, discipline, and national values rather than excessive celebrations.
ACPT stands with the Ghana Education Service on the banning of extravagant graduations of all forms at all levels at the pre-tertiary educational level. This is not against celebration. It's about restoring purpose. As Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, the purpose of education is to develop the intellect and the moral and spiritual character of the child. Also, Dr. Kofi Abrefa-Busia warned, freedom without responsibility is a license for disaster. And our African proverbs keeps on reminding us. One of them is that a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. The village is we parents, becomes the SHS student who disrespect teachers at the age of 17 or 18. Discipline is love with boundaries. Parents, especially fathers, let's choose discipline over decoration, character over gowns. This is how we build Ghana, one responsible citizen at a time. Thank you.
That's the General Secretary of the National Council of Parent Teachers Association, Raphael Kofi Gapson. The Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association has raised concerns over the Environmental Protection Authority's announcement of a ban on the production and sale of styrofoam products effective January 1, 2027, describing the decision as premature and lacked prior stakeholder consultation. In a statement, the association said the plastic industry remains a major contributor to Ghana's economy, employing over 41,000 people directly and supporting millions more across recycling, packaging, and related sectors, adding that any abrupt ban triggers significant job losses and financial disruptions. The Ghana Plastic Manufacturing Association explained that the industry has invested about 1.493 billion Ghana cedis in machineries and equipment for styrofoam production, warning that their proposed timeline of 7 months to phase out operation would amount to an indirect closure of businesses and expose manufacturers to severe capital losses. While not opposing the principles of reducing styrofoam usage, the association argues that a minimum transaction period of at least 18 months is required, insisting that alternatives should be developed in consultation with the industry players to avoid economic shocks. It further cautioned that the ban could increase import dependence, affect imports and operations within the ECOWAS region, and place additional pressure on foreign exchange and inflation. The Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association is therefore calling for engagement with government and the EPA and has proposed a delay of the ban's implementation to January 1, 2030, as well as possible compensation should the policy be enforced earlier. A statement was signed by the president of the Plastic Manufacturers Association. We'll be engaging him on our news subsequently. Now, the Health Minister, Kobnamita Kando, has tasked the MMDCs in the Central Region to ensure strict ownership and effective implementation of the free primary health care program, warning that its success depends on their commitment at the local level. Speaking at the official launch of the initiative, he said the policy is a flagship government intervention designed to improve access to quality basic health care, especially in underserved communities. He explained that the program will be delivered through CHIP compounds, health centers, polyclinics, and other primary facilities covering treatment of common conditions such as malaria, diarrhea, hypertension, and respiratory infections.
Must be part of this intervention. But as I have already indicated, it ends at the polyclinics. So somebody will ask, what about the district hospital, the regional hospital, the teaching? That is why we use the opportunity to encourage everybody to still subscribe to the National Health Insurance. So the free primary health care is not coming to replace the National Health Insurance because it is not applicable at the regional hospitals or the teaching hospitals or the district hospitals. So you will need the National Health Insurance. And when we took over, we took from 57% to 66%. What it means is that there are about 11 million people who are still not asked for the National Health Insurance next. So the National Health Insurance is still relevant. Where the free primary health care will end, the National Health Insurance will begin from there. And where the National Health Insurance will also end, because it is not covering all the diseases such as the cancers. That is where the Ghana Medical Trust Fund will also begin.
Thus, the Health Minister, Kobnamita Akando. The National Food Buffer Stock Company says the limited number of operational warehouses is affecting its ability to purchase, store, and distribute food across the country, particularly to senior high schools. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Class News, the Chief Executive of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, George Otu, described the situation as a major setback to effort to reduce pro-harvest losses and ensure a reliable food supply. He noted that although Ghana has about 100 warehouses, only 11 are fully functional, significantly limiting the company's storage capacity and its ability to support and meet institutional food demands.
Small number of warehouses that we came to meet, we've been able to repair them, then put them to good use. But otherwise, the whole country, even the previous government started 88 warehouses. They're all in the system. Nkuma also built some silos and warehouses. They are all in the state of disrepair. And when you say a warehouse is not just the building. It's food that we are going to keep for people to consume. It's food that we're going to use to feed secondary schools. You have to make sure you keep it in good condition. You have to make sure the nutritional value is maintained. You have to make sure it's wholesome before you can release it onto the market or give it to the schools.
Would you be able to share some statistics? How many warehouses do you have and how many are operational?
The operational ones, I can count them on mine. It's about 10 or 11.
Just about 11.
Yes, but otherwise the whole country, almost every district has a warehouse, except that the state in which they are is nothing to write home about. We need money, we need funding to to bring them up to level, so we can more than 100,
more than 100 warehouses, and just 11 out.
That we have been able to use our own money to repair them.
That's the chief executive of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, George Otu. The full interview airs today on the afternoon business review at 12:30 p.m. Right after the news. And be sure to tune in. We'll bring you more details on the stories and subsequent developing runs right here on Class 91.3 FM. For more news and updates, do log on to classfmonline.com. The morning show continues with Kwame Jumo Ajiman